Hi, I'm David.
Hi, I'm Jelena.
We're here at beautiful Purple Valley in Goa, India. There's like a school next door. I don't know. There's a group of kids next door playing. You can hear it.
Which is really nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Nothing like kids' laughter.
Yeah. And we're
play.
looking out over the jungle.
Yeah, you can't see it, but it's a beautiful jungle.
Mm-hmm.
The chalas behind us.
The birds.
Oh, the birds.
Yeah.
It's so magical when we do morning meditation here, and then you hear the birds. It's so beautiful. And then it turns into monkeys.
Yeah, there was monkeys on the roof today.
Yeah, so cool. Really amazing.
Anyway.
Obviously, we like it here.
We are going to teach you how to do Eka Pada Sirsasana, which means
Eka. One.
Pada.
Leg, foot.
Yeah. Shirsha. Head. One leg head pose.
David just came up with a new creature.
Eka
Leg
Pada.
behind the head pose.
Yeah, one leg behind the head pose.
As
Eka
we
Pada
all know it.
Sirsasana.
Yeah.
So this is a posture that shows up in the intermediate series, the second series in Ashtanga Yoga. And we're going to look at the vinyasa, but mainly just how to get your leg behind your head. This is a really common pose to get stuck on because really your legs shouldn't go behind your head in normal circumstances. So it does, for a lot of people, it takes a long time to be able to get into this posture.
And when we say long time, we don't mean like weeks or months. Like we mean sometimes years before your leg is able to go there and stay there comfortably. Because one of the first things that starts to show up when you begin learning this pose is a bit of a neck tension, neck
be a
pain.
Pain in the neck. Yeah.
And so there's a lot of also back and forth, where you start the pose and the teacher is there helping you and holding the leg and taking some of that pressure off. And that makes a huge difference, having a teacher, having someone who can help you and assist you into the pose. But even with that, there's this going and coming towards it, which is important part of the practice. It teaches you a lot, about patience and acceptance and how to be with the truth of your body. And that's a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah. And this is all to say, don't force anything. This is it's a difficult posture. And so it takes a while to get there. Be patient. Don't be surprised if it's hard.
Yeah. We've even, with our students too, and from personal experience, of course, we've seen where you start this pose and it's going well and you're kind of doing it. And then, it's causing a little bit too much discomfort where for some time you have to back off, and you maybe don't do it for a week or whatever. And then you approach it again, but you just stay very steady about it, very, can I say logical about it? Because, it's still a leg behind the head.
Yeah. Yeah, be common sense.
Common sense, that's it,
Yeah.
All right.
So, let's see. Should we do the vinyasa?
We can. Should we is a key. Should Jelena do a vinyasa?
Yeah.
While David counts.
I'll count.
The hard work.
Well, educated. So from downward facing dog, we go sapta on the inhale. We'll just do the one side. This is the left leg through and the right leg around the arm. So it's right side first. And you put the leg behind your head, eventually all on that one inhale, and end with your hands in namaskar. Ashta, with the exhale, you go forward and catch your foot. And then nava, after 5 breaths here, nava, inhale, head up, hands to prayer, exhale there. Dasha, inhale, hands down, pick up. And Yekadasha, exhale, go back. Dwadasha, inhale. Trayodasha, exhale. That was good. One side's good enough, right? We won't make her do both sides.
What's the thing I forget about demonstrating things in Purple Valley?
What?
Just how hot it gets.
And
sweating, and you catch your leg and it just...
Yeah, it's warm here.
It's warm and it just slides off.
Which is great. But sweaty.
Yeah, very sweaty. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the vinyasa, and that's Jelena doing the vinyasa. So it looks really good, but you just do your best. The idea is that one leg comes to the outside of the arm and one leg comes through to start. Mm-hmm. And then the ideal again is that that's all on an inhale, right? You sapta, inhale, jump through, put the leg behind the head, all in the inhale, but that's just something to shoot for. So it is normal for it to take a little while to get into it from here. Okay, so we're going to start with you switch sides.
Yeah,
Okay. So this would be on the second side. Jelena's got the left leg around the left shoulder, and then she's going to go into a deeper external rotation and try to bring the knee behind the arm. There. And then from here, the hip is going to come forward, lift the calf up, and put the leg behind the head. We're going to have to break it down much more than this, though. And then 5 breaths there. Good. This sorry, not 5 breaths here. Finish there, and then exhale, go forward. Stay to the asana. 5 breaths. See this foot stays nice and pointed, the top foot. And then inhale, you come back up. And do you notice when Jelena is going through the vinyasa, she's keeping her hands off the floor. She's not doing this thing where you kind of walk there. So this is the very clean way.
At first, yeah.
She's doing it very intentionally. So you inhale, you come up, straight hands to prayer. Exhale again there, just one exhale, you don't stay there. And then you do this little vinyasa, chakrasana, inhale, and then exhale, go back, Chatwari. Inhale, upward dog, exhale, downward dog. Good, okay.
I thought we weren't going to do both sides.
We weren't, but you went into...
I was going to demonstrate the breakdown on the other side.
I want to do it breaking down this way.
All right.
Okay, so what are we working with here? We're working with deep external rotation of the thigh, right, in the hip. That's what's going to bring the knee to the outside. That's the external rotation, knee coming out. And then abduction, I guess, the legs coming out to the side here. And then hip flexion. So hip flexion is when your leg comes towards your torso, right? But think about how deep this hip flexion is. It's so deep that Jelena's torso is going to go in front of the leg, or the leg is going to go behind the torso. So that's super deep. And then what's going to happen here is, can you turn to the side again? This way, maybe? So just watch her lower back as she's getting into the posture here. So first, she's going to bend the knee and come into external rotation. The knee is pointing out to the side, right? And then she's going to bring the leg further back into that hip flexion, get the shoulder in front of the knee, but she's going to want to roll onto the back of the hip and round her lower back coming into the posture, because that's going to help with the hip flexion, right? If you go into an anterior tilt here, you're going to create a ton of tension around the hip.
I can feel it already right here.
Yeah, like the sacroiliac joint. You start to feel crunching there. So it's a little counterintuitive. Usually people are saying straighten your spine, and you'll feel like you need to do that, but you don't want to straighten your lower back. So really curl under, and then you're going to try to bring your leg back behind your head. So let's just stick with that for a second, that action. So if you're working on that feeling of coming into the external rotation, the deep sort of hip flexion, and then the posterior tilt in the hip, you can do it here like this. So you're just going to hold your shin about knee height, flex your foot. Flexing the foot is a really good way to keep the knee safe, because it kind of fixes the angle of your shin and your thigh. And then try to slouch a little bit into your lower back. So roll onto the back of your sits bones here, pull in on your lower belly, and then use your arms, pull your calf towards your chest, keep your sits bones tugging down into the floor, and then try to lift your chest up.
And relax your jaw.
Yeah, relax your jaw.
Yeah. So it's really interesting because we have our spine almost doing two things. And we encounter this when we do the twists, which always come before the leg behind head. So the lower part of our spine, I'm just repeating what David said in a different way. The lower half of our spine is doing a posterior tilt. So we're tucking under. And I also really like to kind of emphasize for myself this pulling in of the lower belly, because it protects so much of my back. But then the lift happens from here. So this part is lifting, but I'm not coming into this position. If I was to do this with my leg here, this is when we get into the lower back pain, and we see it so often. We hear students complaining about that pain. So just be very careful that you are in a posterior tilt. You're slouching down and then lifting from the top of the chest.
Yeah, it's like your middle back muscles really engage to get the chest to come up, but you want to keep, it's like your lower belly is pulling in all the time, really strong.
Yeah.
And then here's a trick for the next step too. Well, it's not a trick. This is all hard work. But when you're bringing that knee back behind the shoulder, so remember, Jelena's gonna roll back on the sits bone, right? Curl under, maybe turn a little bit.
Should I do it?
If you're gonna do it this way, do this leg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's switch it up.
Okay.
So I'm not doing one side always.
So watch her tip back on the sit bone a little bit, like that. Okay. So that's the way I always think about it. I want to be on the back edge of my sit bone and then pulling in on the belly as I lift the chest up. Now, to get the knee behind the shoulder, you're going to have to let the leg come out to the side and back. So it's normal for your hip to move back a little bit. Just make sure that you're not pulling the whole sits bone hip way out to the side like that. Instead, think about rolling. If you're wearing, a pair of like tight acid wash skinny jeans.
Well, that's very specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Then you would roll to the outside upper corner pocket of those jeans. See that? She's trying to get the outside corner pocket down towards the floor to make room for the leg to go back. And then, you're gonna tuck your arm under your leg. Now watch what she does with this hand. So she's holding the heel with the opposite hand. She's going to use the thumb to roll the calf under, like back towards her ear with the knee behind, and then swing the hip just a little bit more forward so that the whole shin is going to come more parallel to the front of the body. Then avoid bringing the other elbow back. We see this all the time. People tugging the foot back behind their head. Try to instead keep both your elbows forward and push the leg back as you duck your head under. As you duck your head under, like it's easy. It's going to be tough most of the time. You want to get the leg down low enough that you can get the back of the skull to hold the shin down your back. Then while you're in this pose, I want you to bend your knee, like you're pulling your heel down towards the floor as you resist up through your chest.
Yeah, because often what tends to happen here is that the pressure is so big that we start to straighten our leg. Like that's our way of accessing strength, but it's actually the other way down. So sometimes it's even helpful, you don't want to do it, but it's helpful to flex your foot so that you can really find this push down. Like you want to slouch yourself more. And that pressure is what keeps the leg where it needs to be and takes so much pressure off the neck as well.
That's what I do to get deeper in, actually. I flex it and I get my head to
same.
snuggle it back
this.
like that. Yeah. If you get it up to there, it takes all the pressure out of the neck, and then you feel like your bundas, your core strength, and your back muscles are holding
and upper
you up.
back, is holding the leg.
That's it. Good. And then when you're going forward, you're going to hold all this work. So it's not like you're going to change the angle again of the hips. You're still in your posterior tilt, but now you roll forward on your sits bones as you come into your hip flexion.
And one of the most important tips for me here is that you really are very active through that extended leg and focusing on pushing down through that heel so that it's providing support, because eventually you're not using your arms to come forward into the position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then inhale, come back up. I think it's Triodisha, exhale there. If you're trying to work on this vinyasa, Chakrasana, we'll just break it down quickly. You're going to bring your hands down a little bit in front of you. I find this leg behind you is very important here. Pulling it down will help you lift this leg up, the extended leg forward. Also, tip back a little bit and start to see the foot's pointed. Lift that leg up off the floor a tiny bit as you drag forward. And then it's a pulling action with the arms. The sits bones come forward and up to bring the leg back. And we won't even talk about going back.
If you got that, you'd be like, woohoo!
It's normal for that Chakrasana vinyasa to take a while too.
Yeah, and again, all of this would be assisted if you're learning this and you are privileged enough to have a shala where you can go and practice with a teacher. So if you're at home, it's going to be more difficult. Often it'll take a little bit longer, but
Yeah, if you can train your child or a pet or something, someone around to help you, maybe the mailman. Yeah, so that's a bunch of information. Again, difficult posture. Don't expect it to be easy. Don't write, I can't do this. And of course you can. If you haven't been working on it, in Ashtanga, you would have done all of primary series first, and then slowly worked your way through intermediate. So there's a lot of work usually happening in the body before you get to this pose.
There is no beginner version of this pose.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like once you get to this pose, you've already established and kind of have been working and connecting to your body in all different kinds of ways. So when we get to it, we start going into it right away, but it's often like, it takes like a year or more to get to this point, at least. So.
Okay, I hope that was helpful. Thanks for joining us here. And think about joining us in person here one day at Purple Valley in Goa. We come every year.
Maybe you can come too.
Bye.
Ciao.